Islam recommends us to free our hearts from grudges and hatred. As a true believer, you should not keep grudges in your heart. Hatred. Someone violated you, someone oppressed you, someone said something out of place. You should not allow your heart to carry that hatred and grudge. Free it, release it, and forgive. Allah will forgive you. Now, why is it that when it comes to historical events, such as the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, those who killed Imam Hussein alayhi salam, or those who committed acts of injustice against the Ahlulbayt, then why do we hate them and show that hatred? And in our ziyaras and hadiths, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to withdraw His mercy from them. Because that's the meaning of la'an. La'an does not mean that you're cussing or you're using inappropriate language. La'an is the opposite of mercy. Oh Allah, don't have mercy on them. But why do we do that? Let's close those previous files that they say, and let's not have that negative history in our mind, and let's have a positive experience. So why is it that we, especially in the school of Ahlulbayt, no, we have a stance. We do show condemnation to what happened in the past. And so someone could argue, well, why do you have this grudge in your heart? I will respond to that by mentioning the following points. First of all, the way through which we experience this condemnation should be appropriate. It should not be in a way that instigates or leads to violence, or sometimes mentioning certain names that others highly respect, and you publicly condemn that, and that will instigate them and lead to hatred and violence. We should avoid that. We should be respectful. We should say, those people, for example, who oppressed Imam Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet, we condemn that action. We say it in a way that is appropriate. We don't use derogatory language, or we don't cuss at anyone. So we also have to keep that in mind, that the way we do that should be appropriate. That's number one. Number two, why do we do that in the first place? My dear brothers and sisters, our source is Quran. Why does the Holy Quran talk about previous nations and it condemns what they did? Let me give you an example. For instance, the Holy Quran speaks to the Jewish tribes who were in Medina at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The Quran, when it speaks to them, it speaks about thousands of years before that for what their ancestors did. ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. The Quran says, and you worshipped that golden calf, and you gave Musa a hard time, and you did this, and you did this, and you killed the prophets. Question, those Jews who were in the Medina, did any of them worship the calf? Did any of them kill a prophet? Why is the Quran pretty much criticizing them? Why? Why is the Quran criticizing them? They had nothing to do with it. Something happened 2,000 years ago. Why is the Quran talking to me about it? Go talk to my grandparents. Why me? But why does the Quran bring up these points? Because their descendants did not condemn what their ancestors did. They accepted that history. So the Quran says, you accept dhulm and injustice, you will do it again. How do you draw a barrier between right and wrong so that you don't fall into the same mistake by condemning injustice? I'll give you modern examples. Right now, if someone comes in the West and says, look, Hitler and the Nazis, تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ. They were a nation who came, 80 years ago, and they're gone. Let's have respect now for everyone. Let's remove the grudges from our hearts. Let's respect Hitler. Would anyone accept that from you? Why? Why? He died 70 years ago. Let him go. If you accept Hitler, you will accept his values and his violence. And that means you could do it again. So you draw a line, you say, I don't accept that. In fact, this is the reason, my dear brothers and sisters, why every country celebrates its Independence Day. When is Canada Day? July 1st. What are you celebrating on Canada Day? What do Canadians celebrate? When they decided to make a confederation, right? Okay. When you decided to become a confederation, in reality, you're celebrating what? You may not call it Independence Day like the United States, 4th of July is Independence Day. But in reality, it wasn't independence because you became a confederacy, an independent power from outside forces, from France, from Britain, and all these other countries. Right? Same thing in the United States. 4th of July is Independence Day. Independence from who? From British. What is the American actually celebrating? The Americans actually celebrating that I don't want any outside foreign power to intervene. I want to rule myself and I want to relive it every year. See? When you actually celebrate these events, it strengthens your values because it reminds you of that history. Now someone could come and say, come on guys, you the Americans and the British, you had a fight 3 centuries ago. Why are you celebrating this and bringing it up? Because really when the American is celebrating Independence Day, in reality, he is celebrating that day against the British. Yes. That's what it boils down to. Exactly, yeah. But he says, I have the right. I have the right. He said, yes, I respect your right. That's fine. See, he's drawing a line. Nobody interferes in my country. And that's fine. When you condemn the injustice that happened in the past, you're drawing the line. That I reject this, I don't accept this, and I will not follow the path of those evil ones. When I condemn Muawiyah, that means I don't want to follow his path. But today there are leaders who follow his path in the Muslim world, unfortunately. They're doing exactly what he did. Because they have not condemned it. They have not really understood that those caliphs who came during the Umayyads and Abbasids did wrong. So we condemn that. We condemn everyone who killed Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Why? To draw that line, my dear brothers and sisters. When you draw the line, you see the haqq from the batil. You see the truth from falsehood. And as a believer, you have to condemn that. I'll give you a very personal example. Who's your best friend? Let's say Hassan's your best friend. Okay? Hassan's your best friend. You love your best friend. Someone comes unjustly, kills Hassan, God forbid. Imagine that happened. An act of injustice. Now, if you go, and he never repented, the killer. He says, no, what I did was good. Now you go and say, look, I don't want to have any grudges, right? It's okay, let's put that past aside. What you did was fine. I'm not going to condemn it. I'm not going to comment on it. Have you betrayed Hassan or no? Yes. You've betrayed him. Imagine his children, they're present. Will they respect you? No. They say, if you really loved our father, and he was your best friend, and he was killed unjustly, and his killer never repented, he says, no, I did good, and he justifies. And you go and you embrace the killer, and you welcome him, that means you accepted what happened to our father Hassan. See? The la'an that we do on those who violated the Ahlulbayt does 2 things. Number 1, it shows our support for the Ahlulbayt, that I am with you, not with them. I'm standing with you. Number 2, I will not do what they did to you. I will not do the same dhulm. I will not repeat the same act of injustice. That's the philosophy of it. But again, it goes back to the way and approach. It should be in a peaceful way, in an appropriate way, not in a way that instigates them.